Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and we've got quite a lot for you in the news this morning revolving around transfers, Franck Kessie, Calvin Phillips, Anthony Martial, a few other stories as well. We'll also be talking about this ongoing Solskjaer in-out debate, which I'm getting bored of really, because I just think people are not looking at the wider picture. And remember, we do have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference today as well, so lots to talk about. We're also going to be talking about Martial potentially going to Dortmund. People will get excited about that in relation to Haaland as well, so lots to talk about. But as you can tell, I'm feeling active this morning. I'm wearing the Boohoo Man active range. They've got some stats for us. The show is sponsored by Boohoo Man. Thank you very much to them. They've got a brand new range with some amazing new clothing items to make sure you're always looking your absolute best. Because as I said, because you all seem to like the stats we do with Boohoo Man Active, they've decided to provide us with Manchester United players that covered the most distance over the course of last season. Hence they were the most active. Sorry, let me get that right. We've decided to show you the Manchester United players that have covered the most distance over the course of last season. Hence, they were the most active. Boohoo Man Active, you see. Very clever, I know. So here we go. The player that covered the fifth most distance for United last season was Scott McTominay, who covered 192.5 kilometres. Victor Lindelof was fourth with 240 kilometres. Third was Fred, 260 kilometres. Second was Aaron Wan-Bissaka with 265 kilometres. And finally, in first place, not surprising considering he nearly played every bloody game, Harry Maguire, 276.5 kilometres. Interesting that. I'm going to come back on that. But as always, if you want to get active as Harry Maguire, then Boohoo Man have given United Stand viewers an amazing 40% discount that you can use by clicking the link in the description and using the code United Stand at checkout. We really appreciate the link up we have with Boohoo Man. They're one of those brands that actually work with us to work with you to give us relevant information, not only around their brand but also around this football club. And I love the way they do the stats for us. So 40% off. I'm obviously wearing some of their active ranges at the moment. I know a lot of people are getting out there doing running and stuff like that, and if you want to get some really good quality affordable stuff, use the 40% discount through Boohoo Man link in the video description using the code United Stand. But that's really interesting, isn't it? That's really interesting that not that Harry Maguire's in there, because I know he plays a lot of games, but the two players, you know, we are going to talk about the midfield, because we're going to talk about this story about Kessie and we're going to talk about this story about Calvin Phillips. But is this the sort of stats that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loves? You know, Fred, both of them, Fred and McTominay, in the top 5 players last season for distance covered. I said this last night. Someone was trying to tell me, read this thread about stats, this, that and the other. I don't need to go in-depth stats. I don't think we go in-depth in the way that we play football. I think that Fred and McTominay get picked over Pogba in the midfield or Matic in the midfield or Donny in the midfield. It's got nothing to do with footballing ability. It's got to do with the fact that they run around a lot. And there's your evidence. McTominay and Fred in the top 5 players who covered the most distance last year. That's what gets you in the United midfield, that you can run around a lot. Because it certainly isn't footballing ability. Because I'll argue it with anybody. Donny van der Beek is a better footballer than Fred and McTominay. So is Matic and so is Paul Pogba. But if you run around a lot, you get in Ollie's team, because we do have a style of play. It's counter-attacking football revolving around moments. Hi Mark, it's my birthday today. Could you wish me a happy birthday, says Jack. Happy birthday to Jack. Look, big shout out to Jack actually. Happy birthday, mate. But as we move on to the show, let's start off with the morning transfer stories. First of all, we're going to talking about Franck Kessie. Now, apparently, not apparently, this is coming from, I think it's 90 Minute Sports. But ultimately, I mean, you take that with a pinch of salt, you can take it as read. But the reality is, the feeling around Franck Kessie is that he wants to come to the Premier League. Now, there's a raft of clubs interested in him. Everton, Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea. There's a lot of clubs interested in him. He's free to go next summer. He's coming up for 25, so he's mid-20s. And he will be free in the summer, and he's free to talk to whoever he wants to. He's free to decide. He's free to decide in January. He can talk to anyone in the Premier League in January because he's currently playing in Serie A. And just like Paul Pogba can speak to anyone from Spain, anyone from France, anyone from Italy in January. Can't speak to anyone in England because you can, if you're a free agent in the summer, you can only talk to clubs outside of the country you play in January. So Franck Kessie can talk to Manchester United or Chelsea or any other club he wants to in January. Would he be a good signing for Manchester United? Yes, he bloody would. This is the sort of signing I would love United to make. Do I want to be talking about signings at the moment? I mean, I'm not really that bothered. I mean, I saw some people saying, oh, this is just United leaking stories. United don't leak stories about Calvin Phillips and Franck Kessie to try and deflect bad results. They're not that good. You know, United like to leak stories about Ronaldo or something, but they've already got Ronaldo, so they can't do that. So I don't think this is about, you know, I don't mind talking about this because we do need to buy midfielders, and Franck Kessie is a player that is available for free and is, you know, very, very good. We saw him play against us last season for AC Milan. This is a player we've been mentioning on this channel years. I remember him when he was like 21 at Atalanta, and, you know, we were talking about him. So I like him. I've always liked him. I think a lot of you've already spoken about him for a long time as well. So I would welcome him at Manchester United. But, you know, and actually it makes a lot of sense. Ollie's seen him firsthand. The club have seen him firsthand. He's free. And if you're going to lose Paul Pogba, Yesy, says Kevin Bridge, if you're going to lose Paul Pogba, and I think we will lose Paul Pogba, then Kessie's not a bad player to bring in as a replacement, and it's free for free. So, you know, Paul Pogba's a better player than Kessie, but Paul Pogba at Manchester United has never really been able to just pin down a position and play there, and that's his position. And that's down to a lot of the coaches he's played under, I agree. You could let Pogba go for free, you could bring Kessie in for free, and Kessie could be a better player for United over 3 years than Pogba will be for 3 years. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm a big fan of Paul Pogba. I think he's a fantastic player. But where's Paul Pogba playing for us at the moment? He's playing on the bloody left wing. We're playing McFred in the midfield, not Pogba. So that's my argument. I think Pogba's a fantastic player that we've never really consistently got the best out of. So you let Pogba go in the summer for free and everyone's going to go, oh my God, it's an £80 million player going for nothing. But if he goes for nothing and we get for Kessie for nothing, and he won't be anywhere near the wages that Pogba is, that could be a really good deal for us. I'm not saying Kessie's better than Pogba, but he could do a better job for United because he might play every week in a position where he performs. So I would be very, very interested in us keeping tabs on Kessie, and I would certainly welcome him at Manchester United. But look, at the moment it's just a story. The other story is Calvin Phillips to Manchester United. Now this is far more tentative. I think this was actually from like the Daily Star and the Express. So I mean, look, the story is Man United have dropped their interest in Declan Rice to go for Calvin Phillips. We haven't dropped our interest in Calvin Phillips. Zombie says, going to Old Trafford tomorrow will be my first time. Enjoy it, mate. There's a lot of people going for the first time over this season to see Ronaldo. And, you know, I will be there, not for my first time, but I'm going to go and watch Ronaldo, of course. And enjoy it. I hope United get a result. I did the preview yesterday. I think we will win 2-0. And I hope you know, Champions League nights under the lights, that's what it's all about. I'm sure the fans will be fantastic as ever. Let's hope Ollie is. We'll talk about Ollie in a minute. But Calvin Phillips to Manchester United. I know a lot of you like Phillips. £60 million is apparently the fee that Leeds would take for him. Look, Calvin Phillips is way better than McTominay and he's way better than Fred. Is he good enough to play for Manchester United? He plays in a system that I can't knock. I mean, look, he's not playing for bloody Nuno, is he? You know, in an unimaginative unimaginative footballing side. He's playing for Bielsa in a team that, you know, goes 1 for 1 and passes the ball. So look, Calvin Phillips would be a massive improvement on a Fred or a McTominay in a holding midfield position. Of course he would. But do I want Calvin Phillips at I mean, that's one of those, isn't it? Do I want Calvin Phillips at Manchester United? That's the question. Do you want Calvin Phillips at Manchester United? The Leeds thing doesn't bother me, and I don't think it would bother him. And I don't think it would bother Leeds fans as much. I don't think that rivalry is the rivalry many people think it is. My question mark would be, is he good enough? Because I'm not, you know, it's like I said last night, a lot of people would take Gary Neville right now because he's better than Ollie. But we're talking about his best 11 for United with a front three of Cavani, Greenwood and Ronaldo. It doesn't make sense. So I like Gary Neville. I don't want him as the next United coach because he might be better than Solskjaer. You know what I mean? I don't want to get a midfielder just because they're better than Fred. I want to get a midfielder because they're Manchester United quality. Now, is Calvin Phillips Manchester United quality? Would he go to Liverpool? Would he go to Man City? Would he go to Chelsea? Now, I don't think it's a flat no. I could see him playing for Liverpool. Maybe. I could see him playing for Chelsea. Maybe. But do we need a maybe? My concern about Calvin Phillips is that he's definitely better than what we've got. And I think he could suit our system. I'm just not 100% sure about it. But if we go for it and he's the player, then that's fine. But as I said, the Kessie one is probably a stronger story as we sit here now. Basuma needs to be in the conversation. Brighton weren't the same without him last night, says Dan Harding. What was the score in that game last night? Was it a late equaliser from Brighton? I know they were losing 1-0 and I think they conceded a penalty. But yeah, I didn't watch the game. Kurt says Kessie and Rice and I'd be over the moon. Well, for me, Kessie's if Pogba goes. I don't see Kessie as a holding midfielder. I see Kessie as a midfield 2, again with more licence to get forward. So yeah, it was 1-1. So yeah, I would like Kessie to come in if Pogba goes. And look, we still don't know whether Pogba's going to go, but I would take Kessie if Pogba went. And I would be bringing in a CDM, yeah. The first thing we need to change about Even McFred is the manager and his coaching staff. Get it done, says Ben Anderson. And also, thanks for the super chats, by the way. You can do that through the $. And Angel says, re 4-4-2, Mark, Juventus and Madrid both play 4-4-2 very successfully. Juve with Ronaldo and Dybala used to play it also, so there is scope for it. Well, I don't think there is. You know what? I don't think there is. You've just quoted La Liga and Serie A, which is not the Premier League last time I checked. 4-4-2 doesn't work because you'll get swamped in the midfield. You've got to have numbers in the midfield. If you look at the way Chelsea set up, they will play, their main formation is one forward. They'll then have Havertz and Mount who support the central midfield areas with also a Kante and a Jorginho, plus 2 wing-backs for the width. So, you know, imagine playing Chelsea with a 4-4-2. You get dominated in the midfield. What you can do is you can play an adaptive 4-4-2, and I think we've seen United doing it quite a lot this season, whereby what happens is this. Bruno almost supports, you know, Bruno is getting very close to the striker at times. I think too close. I'd rather Bruno was playing a little bit deeper. But you can do that and get a little bit closer. But I don't think 4-4-2 is the way forward. I know Sean Dyche does it, but I don't think 4-4-2 is the way forward for top-end Premier League football. Mark, lead and Ollie out chant at Old Trafford, says Luke Cotton. Yeah, you know what? Look, we're talking about things here. I'll talk about Ollie in a moment because I think I've got some strong opinions again on this Ollie situation because I got told some stuff last night, so I want to come back on that. But ultimately, look, watch this space with United and Kessie because I think he is a player we should be looking at, and I think it really depends on Paul Pogba leaving. In relation to the midfield, what I did want to say before we move on to the next topic is, would you rather get Calvin Phillips for 60 million or Declan Rice for 80 million? And I think that's the question, isn't it? And for me, I'd go Declan Rice because he's younger with a higher ceiling, even though he's 20 million. If you could get Calvin Phillips for 40 million, I think that might be worth doing, but not for 60. I really don't agree with the chat that we should get Zidane in. He's no different to Ollie, in my opinion. I want Ollie gone, but Zidane is not the answer. Get Conte, says Gary Dowdle. You see, Gary, I would swap everything you said there with Kante and Zidane. I would say at the end I'd get Zidane, and I wouldn't get Conte. I don't think he's the man for United. I think if you really know everything about Conte, he's the sort of manager, he's like Mourinho. Not necessarily in his style of play, but he's tempestuous. And United would hate Conte. United don't. Manchester United are very much like the English FA. The English FA like a waistcoat manager who is conservative and very media friendly and doesn't cause any issues. Roy Hodgson, Gareth Southgate. Manchester United want the same. Manchester United are a business. Manchester United are trying to make money. They want bland. They want safe. They want conservative. They don't want tempestuous managers. Like Conte, Man United wouldn't appoint him anyway. Plus, I don't like his style of football. I don't think it suits Manchester United. But you know what? Let's move on. What we were talking about. So yeah, I mean, look, we'll see what happens on the midfield situation. I still firmly believe that Paul Pogba will leave Manchester United, but we'll have to wait and see whether that happens. Just on Marcus Rashford as well. Marcus Rashford, as we spoke about yesterday, he's got a meeting with his doctor tomorrow on Friday, where he should be able to start stepping up his physical training. Now, that would be basically 2 weeks. No, it wouldn't. Yeah, it would be 2 weeks before the Leicester game. Now, some people are penciling him in for that Leicester game, that he could be involved in the squad. I don't know whether he'd start, but this next international break, when that's over, this is when we're going to start to see Marcus Rashford back. And I think this is a real boost to the team. A fully fit Marcus Rashford. Now, look, we've got Cristiano Ronaldo. We've got Paul Pogba. We've got Bruno Fernandes. Marcus Rashford is a very welcome player back, but it's not like it's going to change our season because we've already got very good players. But the thing I like about Rashford coming back is we haven't seen him fully fit for 18 months, and it means that surely Pogba won't play on the left wing anymore. So that's good news. Do we really think Ollie would play Kessie? He might buy him, but would he play him? Not being smart, I have doubts on that, says Dara. And Ferdinand called us out for living off moments, says Daniel Kirk. You know what? It's really interesting. I got a message from Adam this morning, who does a lot of content on the channel. And he said, isn't it funny how Ferdinand and Neville are mentioning moments now? And I was like, yeah, I said, well, it's a good thing, isn't it? He said, but this is what's been mentioned specifically on this channel and on social media for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it's funny how these ex-players, I think it's a positive, but Adam was saying it's funny how these ex-players will start mentioning things when the fans have been brave enough to say it first, and then they go, I think it's safe for me to do it now, and get a bit of positivity around it. Why weren't they saying it 3 weeks ago? Why weren't they saying it 3 months ago? I think it's great that they're on board because, as I said on Saturday, we need the ex-players, we need the media. It can't just be the fans calling this crap football out. And it's going to be very interesting how Ollie reacts in the press conference. But it's funny how people like, Gary Neville, Andrea Ferdinand and others are now using the moments that were Moments FC. And we've been saying Moments FC on here for a very long time. It's Moments FC. And, I think it's encouraging that it's being called out. Not because I think they're calling Ollie out, but I think they are calling Ollie out, but they're not calling for Ollie to be sacked. What they're doing is they're calling Ollie out in relation to his football shit. And it is. It's crap football and it needs to be better. And it's on Ollie to improve it. Break the bank and get Basuma and Jude Bellingham in the pivot and win the title next year. Both are very good on the ball, much better than Rice, is Angel. We'll never be getting Bellingham next summer. We'll never get him next summer. But Basuma's a possible... You know what? The great thing about this situation is that there's always been options in the midfield. Remember, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer refused to buy a midfielder. I know this for a fact. Loads of people other than me you can read about. United decided not to buy a midfielder this summer. They didn't. They decided to buy Jadon Sancho, who he's not even picking. They wanted a centre-back, they wanted a striker, and they wanted a right-back. They didn't go for a midfielder. So we're massively, massively short in midfield, but Ollie didn't want one. But the thing that's interesting is that there are loads of midfielders available. Basuma, Kessie, Phillips, Declan Rice, just to name four. There's loads and loads of others. So look, around the midfield situation, do I think we'll get one in January? Never say never, but next summer I think we'll definitely get one or two if Pogba goes. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. I mean, just going back to a point there. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Ollie press conference is at lunchtime today, I think, or it was 1 o'clock. It could move because it's Champions League. Be very interested to see what the sort of questions are put to Solskjaer today in the press conference. And obviously we'll be reacting live to that. We've seen some ridiculous questions over the last few weeks. We've had press conferences where every question is a different Ronaldo question, even though we'd already signed him. We've had questions about the Ryder Cup. We've had questions about the Champions League format in 2 years' time. What I want to see today are questions, not about fucking Bruno. Sorry to swear on a morning show, sorry, but I do get frustrated. I'm really trying to quit swearing, but it's very difficult when you've had the upbringing I've had. But so I think I should do that on a Goldbridge channel. Like, can I get hypnotised not to swear or some sort of therapy, and we'll film it. And I could set it up around charity. If I swear, I have to pay like a £5 or something like that. I'm all for that. Anyway, I don't want to hear about Bruno's missed penalty, and I guarantee some prat will ask him about Bruno's missed penalty in the thing today. This spin around Bruno's penalty is massively infuriating. Nobody cares about Bruno's penalty miss. I even saw something about Ollie. I won't blame Bruno. You better not blame Bruno. He's bloody made you relevant for the last 2 years. I'm not going to blame Bruno. How's about the preceding 89 minutes where the team played absolutely dreadful on your watch? And these are the questions I want to see asked of Solskjaer today. I know look, if you underperform in life, you should be put on the spot. I want to see questions like this asked of Ollie today. There's lots of criticism after the game from Saturday, Ollie, about your team just being reliant on moments and you being a counter-attacking side, not playing the United way, fans very frustrated with the football that you're playing. fans not happy with the midfield situation where you're putting Pogba on the wing and you're benching people like Van der Beek and Matic for two players that basically just run around a lot. What's your answer to that? There's so many different questions that can be asked about Solskjaer and his team, and I want to hear them today. I know I love Ollie. A lot of people love Ollie, but he's a man, doesn't matter how much you love him. I'm not going to take him off my Christmas card list or anything like that. But he's the manager of Manchester United. It's not mates race. We need to put him on the spot. What happened to the super chats in the Inti show yesterday? If they won't be read out, best disabled for that show, says Andrew Hughes. Andrew, if I wanted you to tell me how to run the show, I'd invite you to how to run the show. I think we'll carry on doing how we want to do it. Thank you very much. It won't be interesting. The pressure questions are pathetic. It's just on that, Andrew. People who support this channel with super chats have been doing it for years. There's never been a written rule that if you put a super chat in, it will get read out. If it's me on my own, I'll try and read them all out. If it's on a guest show, we put it up on the screen so everyone else can read them. And some people like to have their name up on the screen with a question up there that people can debate about. So maybe if you listened to the show and understood what the community is all about, you might understand that. If it's me on my own, we try and read them all. If it's a community show, we'll put them on the screen so everyone can read them, and we'll try and talk about them. It won't be interesting. The presser questions are pathetic. It's as if United choose their mates to ask the questions, says Andrew. I agree on that. How much more time should we give Ollie? He's still playing the same tactics and still buying players not to use them, says Ken. Even if we get a class DM, can we trust Ollie to allow Pogba to push more forward? Or will he hang in the pivot like he does with Fred or McTominay? It's a great question, Jared, because even when we do play Pogba in the midfield, does he get that opportunity to push forward? And Gary Dowler says, couldn't agree more. The penalty miss was just the perfect decoy for Ollie and United to defer away from the shocking performances. Right, I just want to bring this in here. I think it's a really good point to actually bring in. So, effectively, what I wanted to say is that last night a few people messaged me about, they some of them were pro Ollie, some of them were sending me messages about people who were pro Ollie. And I think what's happened here is that you've got to be very, very careful. The way I look at this situation is, I get people call them Ollie sexuals. I mean, I just, as I said, I think we all want the same thing. I don't like the whole Ollie in, Ollie out division thing, because we all want the same thing. We want United to be successful. And I think it's dangerous when you start to get a divide in anything, because when you have a divide, you should have extreme opinions on each side. What's the extreme opinion here? Some people think one manager's good enough, some people think that manager's not good enough, but everyone's a United fan wanting them to win. That's not extreme opinion. That's just all about whether the coach is good enough to provide us the winning platform we all want. And then you wander into areas of I told you so, I was right. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you this right now. This is my opinion. I am obviously not Ollie out at this point, but to be honest with you, do I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can win us a title? No, I don't. I don't think he can at the moment. I really don't. I want him to, but I don't. I think anybody who's sat here saying that the progress we're making is a big sign that we're going to win a title is a guesser. They're a chancer. They're a messer. They're just doing it because they back Solskjaer, they want him to be successful, and they're making a big guess because what they want to do is go, oh, look at me, I never turned on the manager, I always stayed with him. Well, you know what, I couldn't give a shit about that. Life's about changing your mind. Life's about evidence. Life's about facts. When the facts are presented in front of you, you're a stubborn shit if you are not going to change your mind on something. Now, I was being told stuff last night about people who were basically having a go at people who were saying, Ollie's not good enough, or even Ollie out because, you know what, he's done a great job and, I'm just going to stay with my manager because that's what United fans should do. Well, I disagree on that. Because life's about opinion and life's about choices. I think, to be honest with you, there's nothing brave about saying United till I die, win, lose or draw, United till I die, I'm going to back the manager, Solskjaer's the man. There's nothing brave about that. Let's look at the facts. Ultimately, if you are sat there going, I'm not happy with this coach, or I'm not happy, I want him to be sacked, that's a very brave decision to do. Because if I'm honest with you, I like to do percentages. What are the chances of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being sacked? Less than 10% in the next 6 months? I think there's next to no chance. What are the chances of Manchester United finishing in the top 4 this year? 90%. I really do think 90%. So what's the chance that Solskjaer will be our manager in a year's time? I'd say 75%. I really, personal opinion, right? So if you're sat there saying, Ollie, I'm sticking with Ollie. There's nothing wrong with him. People are just, going over the top. That's not a brave minority decision. That's a very sensible, I told you so because the stats are in my favour position. Like, how can a man... It's impossible not to finish in the top 4. It's almost impossible not to be successful. How can you not win things with Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood, Edison Cavani, Luke Shaw, David De Gea, Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Donny van der Beek, Nemanja Matic. There's so many top quality players in that squad, and people are sort of doing it like a badge of honour. I'm going to stick with Ollie. He's going to get us out of this mess. It's like going to war against people who are fighting you with bloody wooden sticks, and you've got Scud missiles, but you just don't know how to use them. Like, we should be obliterating the opposition. And yet you get these people who are like, everyone's going over the top. Stand by your man. Stand by Ollie. And it's like, that's not a brave decision. It's a safe decision. Some people could say it's almost, it's not really a position. It's a braver decision to call the manager out. It's a braver decision to say he's not doing well enough. These people who are sat there going, oh, I'm not going to call the manager out. I'm going to stick with him. I think he's doing a great job. He's not doing a great job, is he? He's not doing a great job because he can't. I've said this before. If you are sat there saying get Ollie out, then you're in the minority. Chance of it happening, minimal. Minimal. Look at the squad he's got. The club are right up his arse. They don't want him to go anywhere because he protects them, because it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They've spent loads of money on him. They want him to be successful. His job is more secure than Thomas Tuchel. As I said at the weekend, people don't understand that. But if Thomas Tuchel goes and loses 3 or 4 games before Christmas, Abramovich will be thinking, I don't care whether he's won the Champions League. He's not winning the league. Right. He ain't got long left. At United, there's no prospect of him going anywhere. So, you know what I mean? These people who are like becoming like militant Ollie inners. There's nothing brave about that. Have you seen his bloody squad? He should be successful. He should be winning trophies. He should be winning a title. It's not brave and different and, loyal to go, oh, Ollie's, I'm Ollie in. I don't care if we lose 3 games, I'm sticking with Ollie. Because ultimately, the people who are calling him out are Ollie inners. Whether it's Gary Neville, whether it's you, whether it's me. Look, I'm not saying sack the manager, but I am saying he's got big questions to ask, and I'm calling him out on his crap football because he's got the best squad in the Premier League. I think he's got the best squad in the Premier League. I really do. I think he's got, Man City and Chelsea have got good squads, but he's got one of the best players in the world. He's got one of the best centre-backs in the world. He's got arguably 2 of the best midfielders in the world, and he's got one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He's got the spine. Football's all about a spine. But what he does is he starts to build a strong spine. David De Gea, Rafael Varane. Then he's got Bruno. Then he's got Ronaldo. He's building a tight spine. And then in the midfield, he's building that bit of the spine out of jelly babies. Like it's soft. If he builds his midfield, he's got a team that can go and beat anybody. We can beat anybody anyway, but he's definitely got the resources. There is no excuse to not be in a title race this season. There isn't any, and that's what I say when somebody says to me, get behind the manager, he's doing a great job, this, that and the other. I always say, well, what's the excuse for losing to Aston Villa then? What's the excuse for losing to Young Boys? What's the excuse for playing crap against Wolves and crap against Southampton? What is it? And they can't give an answer. That's the question you have to ask somebody who says it's all right, just get behind the manager. Because I'm behind the manager, but I'm calling him out as well. I'm not behind the manager stabbing him in the back. I'm in front of the manager. I'm saying, I want you to be the man, but you're not doing the job well enough. You say to somebody who's behind the manager, oh, I'm just with you, Ollie, no matter what. Say to them, what's the excuse then? Why did we lose to Villa at the weekend? Why did we drop points at Southampton? Why were we jammy against Wolves? Why did we lose to Young Boys? Why are we losing all these games and dropping all these points and playing so badly with the squad we've got? That's what I would ask, because they've got no answer. Oh no, just win, lose or draw, get behind the manager. That's not an answer. That's a gimmick. Why are we performing so badly with all these players? And that's the question that should be asked in the press conference today. It should be asked. Ollie, you've got one of the best squads ever. Some people think it's the best squad United have had in 10 years, even better than the squad that Sir Alex won the title with, which I think is a good point. Yet, you've been to Wolves, you were very lucky to win. You went to Southampton, draw. You lost to Young Boys, you lost at the weekends. You've not really played anybody that good yet. You're dropping points all over the place. Yet you've got one of the best squads in the world. Why? And let him answer that question. In fact, that's the question that needs to be asked today. Ollie, the start to the season hasn't been that good. Lucky against Wolves, dropped points against Southampton, lost to Young Boys, lost to West Ham, lost to Aston Villa. You've got the best squad this club's had in 10 years, some of the best players in the world, and you are dropping points, and you haven't even played anybody that good yet. Why? And then let him answer it. Don't ask an open, don't ask a closed question. Ask that open question. And then we might get the answer. Can't see the guy, Carl or something, who asked Ollie about the midfield in the presser in the last ones. Did they remove him? If that happened, United should be ashamed of themselves, and Ollie too, says DK. Ollie and his 95% of them are Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea fans. Of them support failure. Kick him out, says Jay. Well, no, I don't. I counter that. I'm not here asking for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be sacked. I'm here just asking that questions be asked, and that question there would be a very good question to ask. And if he says fine margins, he's digging his own grave, isn't he? If he says, somebody just said, how do you think Ollie would answer that question, because he'll never get asked it. If Ollie was asked why we're dropping so many points and playing so badly with such a great squad, I think he probably would come out. Fine margins, says Daz OW. I think he would come out and say, well, football's about fine margins. We've had 30 chances on goal at the weekend, but you can have 60 shots on goal. Under David Moyes, I think we put 1,000 crosses in. That in fact, that's perfect. United played Fulham, I think it was, and I think it was a 0-0 draw at Old Trafford. It was a long time ago. And we put an amazing amount of crosses in. It's the same with shooting. Like, you can have 30 shots and not trouble a team. And United had loads of shots against West Ham in the Carabao Cup. We had loads of shots against Villa at the weekend. But did I watch that game and go, God, Villa were lucky? I felt Villa deserved at least a point in that game. And they had way less shots than us because we were just shooting from all over the place. We weren't creating good chances. Anyone can shoot from 35 yards, but we're not. We've got to be very careful, really, because I think that will be the wiggle room. Look at how many shots we had at the weekends. We're doing the right things. We just need that little bit of luck. Football's about fine margins. We're not doing the right things. Football's not about luck. And Villa did deserve to win the game. That's the thing. Are we not in a title race, says Tom? I don't believe you're really in a title race until November anyway, because I think, you look at the start of the season we've not played anybody that good. Whereas Chelsea have played lots of good teams. So is it fair to say that we're in a title race with Chelsea because we've got the same amount of points when actually they've played harder games? I think when we've come through the games we've got in October, I think in November, look at the league table. If we are level on points, 1 point off the top in November, then we're in a title race. But we're not in a title race now just because we're near the top of the league. Brighton are near the top of the league. I think you've got to play at least sort of 10, 15 games before you can really understand. Right here, right now, yeah, technically we're in a race for the title. Of course we are. But look at the games we've played. Look at the games Chelsea have played. There's a big difference. They've been to Anfield. They've been to the Emirates. They've played Manchester City as well. They've been to Spurs. And they've got the same amount of points as us. Where have we been? Southampton, Wolves and West Ham. And then we've played Newcastle and Villa and Leeds at home. To be honest with you, God, that makes me feel even worse. We've dropped 5 points we've dropped 3 points against Villa at home, 2 points to Southampton away. 5 points we shouldn't have dropped, really. But look, we'll see where we are in November, of course. Rumour is Carl Anker's the guy who asks tough questions on tactics won't be allowed at presses anymore. Anyone know if this is true, says Victor. I don't know, mate. Are people having problems with the stream today? Because the numbers watching is really fluctuating, and we don't normally have that. But I'm not getting any problems with the stream at all. But it's up and down like a bloody yo-yo, and I don't know what's going on. We should be top. Well, we should be top, yeah. A good few of our shots were Mason from stupid angles when a pass and a bigger chance were on. We're individualists and have been for years, says Sam Brox. Well, I'm very good. I'm very happy. Few people are having problems. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It keeps cutting out. There's a problem with YouTube today. Okay, so no worries. Okay, thanks everyone for letting me know. Apparently there's a problem with YouTube. Mark, can we do as Manchester United fans to influence Ollie to play the United brand of football, says Midden. The only thing, I mean, Midden, that's a great super chat because ultimately, basically, the positive about Gary Neville or us or other people or the media or Simon Stone and everybody talking about the lack of quality and no excuses is that it becomes an established stance for Manchester United fans that, you know, it's not just some Twitter account talking about crap football. It's all of Twitter, it's social media, it's ex-players, it's media, and this is good. This is good because you can't hide from it when everyone's talking about it. And look, this is one of the reasons we have Paul Ince on the show. Ex-player, you know, it just gives it a different dynamic. And basically, it's established now. I said this after the Villa game. What's established now around Solskjaer, whether you're Gary Neville, whether you're mainstream media, whether you're social media, whether you're football Twitter, that when people think about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now, they're thinking, is he good enough? And that's across the board. And Ollie will know that. And the only way for him to change that is to prove that he's good enough. Now, I hope he can, but if he can't, everybody thinks he's not good enough at the moment anyway. So that's the starting point. Is he good enough? And also, what's across the board, most people are not saying we haven't got a style of football anymore. Listen, we do have a style of football. Solskjaer mentioned it on an interview quite recently. He said Manchester United are a team that counterattacks and relies on individualism. Well, we're not. We're not that, but that's what he's doing. That's what he maybe thinks the United way is. So we have got a style of football. It's counter-attacking, reliant on moments, and that's Ollie's style. Now, Pep's style isn't that. Tuchel's style isn't that. Potter's style isn't that. Brentford's style isn't that. Klopp's style isn't that. Name me another team in the Premier League whose style is counter-attacking football and reliant on moments. Nobody plays like that anymore. Every team in the Premier League that I can think of, even the Southamptons and Norwich, who are not doing well, they have a style of football. But Ollie does have a style of football. It's just very primitive, isn't it? Anyway, look, I think we've got problems with the stream, so I'm not going to carry on too long because it just seems to be up and down for everybody, which is a pain. Sorry about that. Seems to be a problem with YouTube today. We will be back at lunchtime. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Ben says he's not good enough because he's not tactically intelligent enough. His brain is too closed. Unfortunately, that's who he is. He's born that way. Well, look, I hope it can change. I really hope it can change. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference, as far as I know, is lunchtime today. It's sort of like 1 o'clock UK time, so we'll be live sometime after that, sort of around 2 o'clock UK time. Looking forward to that. Let's hope he sees if he answers. Let's see if he gets asked some questions first. And if they did ban that journalist from press conferences, it's appalling. But this is the sort of thing a brand does. A brand doesn't want to answer difficult questions. They just want to promote positivity. Let's see. Thanks everyone for watching. I think for a lot of people the stream's been good. For some there has been a problem, but we will hopefully have that sorted out for you by lunchtime anyway. I'll speak to you all at lunchtime. Looking forward to it. And make sure you use Boohoo Man, 40% off, activewear range. Links in the video description. Don't know why I'm doing a rectangle around my moobs.